Hi, I'm Ruby Wax, and you're listening to Resonance FM.
Well, look at this! Here's the guy here just in the nick of time. What does that make us? Big damn heroes, sir. Ain't we just?
I love it when a plan comes together.
I have a plan.
You've got a plan.
Yes.
First of all, you're copying me from when I said I had a plan.
No, I'm not. People say that all the time. It's not that unique of a thing to say.
Secondly, I don't even believe you have a plan.
I have part of a plan.
What percentage of a plan do you have?
You don't get to ask questions after the nonsense you pulled on Nowhere.
I just saved Quill.
We've already established that you destroying the ship that I'm on is not saving me.
When did we establish?
Like 3 seconds ago!
No, I wasn't listening. I was thinking of something else.
Oh.
Hello and welcome to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM, a film and TV radio show where a handful of film enthusiasts shoot the breeze about all things film and television. I'm Marcus E. Acko, and the last TV show that I watched before I came into the show, or came into the episode today, is Billions.
Hello, and I'm David Campbell, and things seem to have gone very well so far.
So don't jinx it, don't jinx it, don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it.
Last thing I saw on TV was Atlanta. I've been catching up with Atlanta, so yeah.
Excellent. Laura Sampson is our usual co-host. She's not in the studio with us because she's hard working on her storytelling career. Laura, all the best. We can't wait for you to come back in. But with us in the studio, we have our guest who is an author and a media strategist. Please tell us your name and the last TV show episode you watched before coming into the studio.
Thank you, Marcus. My name is Elise Quevedo, and the last thing I watched was The 100.
Yeah, that's it's on E4 at the moment, right? So it's about the youngsters who pretty much were prisoners in like 100 years' time, and they get sent to Earth thinking Earth isn't uninhabitable.
Yeah,
and then,
everybody loves a little bit of an apocalyptic drama and mystery and killings. So yeah,
I watched up to the second season and I dropped off, not because I didn't like the show, but I just haven't had a chance to get back in there because as people who listen to the show know, I have a ton of things that I want to watch and it's just fell in the list. So you've watched the most recent episode, or?
Yes, I've been watching. I was traveling for about 3 weeks, as you know, so I've been catching up on a lot of episodes. But the last one was The 100. I was binge watching about 3 of them. The last 3.
I like that show. I definitely want to catch up on it. We have a party crasher in the studio with us. Please tell us your name and what the last TV episode you watched before crashing the studio.
Hi, my name is Ella. I am somehow related to Marcus, but
what's your last name?
I can't quite remember. But
closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Much better. Yeah.
This is the first time on the microphone. Yes. So somehow related to Marcus.
Again, closer to the microphone.
I think he was adopted. I was adopted, or he was adopted. One of us was adopted. Haven't figured out who.
You wish you were adopted.
And last thing I watched on TV was Homeland, season 7.
Oh, Homeland. Yes, that's the Claire Danes one, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, cool. So I like Homeland. I need to catch up on the new season. So we're going to be talking loads of media strategy today because we have Elise. Oh, Elise, just before we move on to the next segment, how do you pronounce your full name?
If you want to go all Spanish,
Please.
I mean, normally it's Elise Quevedo, a.k.a. Elisa Carolina Quevedo Cediles.
I'm not going to try that because I'll just butcher it. So I'll just call you Elise if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool too.
You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
And with us in the studio, we have Elise Quevedo, who's a media strategist. We'll be talking a lot about, in fact, that's going to be our top 5 category. Our top 5 category for this week is top 5 favorite film and TV fixers and strategists. So I can throw some examples out there, but I don't want you to start coming up with your own. You can come up with your own and tell us what you think. Also in the studio with us is Ella Acko, who is going to be lending whatever expertise he has and whatever suggestions he has.
Very little.
Very little.
We'll just throw questions over to him. I'm sorry.
Every now and again. Don't be sorry for him.
Pass. I can start now.
It's all good. So later on the show, that'll be much later on the show. Before we do that, let's go into the next category, the next segment, which is film and television news.
Come on, Dave, you can do it.
If it would work.
Hey, he got
I won't count that as a fail, Dave. Don't worry. That was because there was timing issue there. We won't count it as a fail because you got the right cue, the right sound.
Yeah, right. Okay,
that's fine. So it's not a fail. We wobbled a little bit.
Wobbled?
You wobbled a little bit.
No,
it's fine.
I was on time.
Okay.
The computer was not.
Oh, fair enough. Well, don't blame your tool. It's fine. But
My tool is fine, thank you.
That's what she said.
So
Sorry, it's before 10 p.m.
it's all good. You think the people that listen to this are like, yeah, it's okay. They probably said all that stuff before you said it.
Yeah, kids understand anyway.
First piece of TV news we'll go into. Aquaman pictures dropped recently. So the new DC, the latest offering from the DC Cinematic Universe, Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa and Nicole Kidman, Amber Heard, and a number of other people, Patrick Wilson, and who's the other one? It doesn't matter. But the pictures dropped recently, so if you want to go and see what Aquaman is going to look like in the new DC movie, go check it out online. Just Google Aquaman and you can't miss it. Elise, have you seen the pictures?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of banter today on Twitter, and it was only because Entertainment Weekly actually dropped 2 different covers, which they don't normally do. Obviously, DC Comics, this is the first time they're doing such a large promotion, because obviously Marvel is all over the place right now, and it's actually the only movie they're releasing this year.
It's the only DC movie this year. Yeah,
correct.
But they can't really do anything else. I mean, not that they can't do anything else. They have other ones that are lined up. Flash movie was supposed to have come out like last year, but it has issues, so they've kept pushing it back. I think it's going to be done next year. The Wonder Woman 2 is set to start shooting, so it won't come out this year.
Nope.
That's their only bankable movie, character at the moment, because Batman versus Superman didn't really do that well. I mean, it did well compared to other movies. I mean, it took much more money than what's the other Suicide Squad. But this is the one where is the first outing for Aquaman.
Yeah.
And it's got Jason Momoa. So
of course. As a woman, I'm sorry, but all the pictures are hot.
Hey, as a man, I'm like, well, I see Jason Momoa and I'm
all
like,
the men want to be him, and all the women want to be with him a lot, even more. They definitely don't want to kick him out of bed in the morning.
That's true.
But I think they've definitely made a very good cast, and with Jason on board, I think this movie is gonna be a hit.
Yeah, and if you cycle through, and Michael, answer, close your ears. I know you don't like listening to spoilers about movies coming up. So if you look at some of the photos that have been released as well, you can sort of tell which direction they're going in. There's a picture of Black Manta, just the head of Black Manta sitting on there. You see Patrick Wilson is playing one of the characters as well, and some interaction with Jason Momoa's character, and also Amber Heard's characters interacting with Jason Momoa's character, Aquaman, in the real world. So
and also Nicole Kidman. I'm really interested to see how that chemistry works on the screen, because we haven't seen that for a long time.
Again, from the photos, I don't know if those two are going to interact. I'm not going to say much about it, but go and check the pictures and you'll see what I'm talking about. It might be the fact that you won't see Nicole Kidman and Jason Momoa on screen together. You definitely will see Amber Heard and Jason Momoa, and there should be sparks flying. But hey, we thought about that with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. We thought sparks were going to fly when you put 2 of them together, and then they made Jiggly. So happen. So anyway, so go check out Aquaman photos that are online. Next topic we want to talk about. We went on a website called Collider. Thank you, Collider.com, and one of the topics that popped out straight at us was best shows of 2018.
So far.
Well, yeah, we're June. We're in June, right?
Yeah, in June. Yeah, we're still in June.
Yeah, we're still in June. It feels a lot later. So we're in June. Collider.com have released, as far as they're concerned, the favorite or the best TV shows of 2018 so far. At least I'm going to reel off some of these names. Tell me if you've heard of any of them. The Americans.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
We like those. Yes.
Okay. I'll throw to our other guest in the room to see if he's Ella.
I'll just say yes.
The Americans. I've
seen it.
You've seen Americans. Good. Yeah. So because it's the last season this year. So the run at the moment that we're seeing is the last season, and that's it. It's end for the Americans. If you don't know, the Americans is about 2 Russian spies who in the 80s who are living an American life and reporting back to the Kremlin. It's very tense. It's very good. It's an incredible show. Go and say I agree. It should be on this list. What about I was gonna say Blue Planet 2. Blue Planet 2.
I have not, but it's on my list, and I'm really ashamed to admit that I haven't.
David, you've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, and it is worth seeing if you like nature. And,
yes.
But the thing about it is that it's so spectacularly well filmed that some of the stories that come to life and everything else like that. There are some scenes in there that will just make you weep, and there are some people who just like start crying as soon as you start saying things like dolphin or wolf or whatever. Because there's
Wolf.
you know what I mean? So. Just watch it and you'll understand.
Yeah, it won Virgin, well, the BAFTA Virgin TV must see moment of the year and in this year's BAFTA. So it's great. Ella, have you seen Blue Planet 2?
Blue Planet? No, I haven't. Not yet.
Okay, fair enough, not a problem. Next one, Legends of Tomorrow.
Of course, one of my top 5 favorite American TV shows. Watch them every single time. I just love the way it's been filmed.
Yep.
I love all the stunts within the Legends as well. A lot of my close friends work in the stunt industry.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, just give me any fighting sequences, and I'm a big fan. Especially it's futuristic. You know, it's not really what happens now, so it gives you a lot of thought for your mind of what could happen in the future.
Yeah,
if it was real.
Legends of Tomorrow. You can catch it on Sky One and Sky Box Set if you've missed it. It's DC. It's the lesser known characters in the DC universe, Marvel DC, but DC universe. They come together to form the Legends. Atom is one of them. Not Flash, but Wally West is one of them as well. And they form together and they time travel to save or to fight crime in time, I guess. But I like the show. I really enjoy the show. It's part of that whole that triplicate of the CW network. So Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, all together. So on the list, only Legends of Tomorrow popped up. The other two didn't.
That's surprising. I would have thought that maybe the Flash.
I would have thought Flash. I would have thought Flash. Yeah, but all right. Ella, have you seen Legends of Tomorrow?
It's on my to-watch list.
Okay.
Yes.
You have to.
Okay, I haven't seen it either.
You haven't seen
probably, it? I only heard about it today, so I'm definitely gonna check it out.
You should check it out.
Do you think DC is doing better on TV than it is on?
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely,
100%.
And if anything, it's sort of I'd say DC are beating Marvel in TV when it comes to TV. So when it comes to TV, DC are beating Marvel. When it comes to cinema, Marvel obviously are dominating. Okay. So with regards to Marvel on TV, you have Luke Cage on Netflix as well. You have Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones.
They're not doing that well.
But here's the thing. I feel, my personal feeling about it is that they were building up and it was going to be good because you had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. That took the ball and that was running.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was definitely on my... I'm not sure if it's on that top list, but...
It's not.
Oh, no, I like
how can it not be?
I do like
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, my Lord.
And that's the problem. It's they started off strong with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they also had this whole thing. They had the thing that everyone wanted DC to have, but they didn't, where they were uniting everything. So they had everything tied together. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would run off after Thor, and you'd see things that happened in the movie kind of connected to the TV series. They brought the same thing with Netflix when Daredevil came out. They made references to the movies, so everyone's expecting, Avengers Infinity War is coming out. Everyone's going to be in it. And there was a plan to do that. Problem is, Iron Fist happened. And Iron Fist was underwhelming, and that kind of tripped them up. And when they went to do Defenders, same thing happened, and it was like, what? And then they had issues between Marvel and the studios, Netflix and Marvel Studios, and so they're sort of detached. Anyway, so that's what the last one we'll mention on the list: Atlanta.
Oh, nope.
You haven't seen Atlanta?
Big no on mine. No.
Yes,
it's
on my list.
Season 1.
Okay.
So I'm just wrapping up to watch season 2.
Yeah, we're waiting to see season 2. David, what about you?
Well, it's out. I think it's out. It's out already.
Not in the UK, but in the States, yes.
Yeah. No, I'm still on season 1 and I'm enjoying it immensely. I'm telling you, it's just so funny. It's just so good.
We definitely push Atlanta as though we know the creators. But I mean, Donald Glover is the creator, writer, actor. You know what? Yes, I have both. I have both. He has a place on my couch anytime he wants to come to the UK. Donald Glover can come to stay at my place, and basically I will try. I don't know. I was going to say I'll drink his bathwater, but that was going to go a little bit too far.
So this is a public announcement for anyone that knows Donald Glover.
Nasty.
I was like,
warn him to stay away from my.
Yes, I know. As soon as the thought popped into my head, I was like, dude, slow down, back up. No, but he's a very talented individual. The show Atlanta is focused on 3 characters in Atlanta. You have Earn, played by Donald Glover, who is the manager of his cousin, who's a rapper called Paperboy, and their friend. They just basically they go around Atlanta. It's the reason why I think it's great is because it sort of it has an edge to it, a very sharp edge to it, but it's coated in absurd, fantastical reality. So just go and check it out. Atlanta, I think I definitely believe it should be on that list.
Yeah, and I think it also kind of gives you an insight
into the
macro. It also gives you an insight as to how rappers in the States, how they try to get into the whole, into the industry, how they struggle, all the obstacles they face, and all the things they get distracted, they get distracted by. So that's one reason I like it.
Absolutely, it's like I said, and that's absolutely. Anyway, so we've talked a lot about film and TV news. Let's move from that. You're listening to Resonance 104. You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
And our main guest in the studio today is media strategist Elise Quevedo, who's going to be talking about herself. So before we do that,
you didn't say her full name.
I said I wasn't going to say her full name.
Oh, come on, give it a go. Practice that.
Okay, so Elise Carolina Quevedo
Cediles. And if you say the Speedy Gonzalez way, it's Elisa Carolina Quevedo Cediles.
Elise Carolina Quevedo Cediles. Elise. Everyone's like, dude, just please let us hear from her. So we've been talking earlier. We mentioned you're an author and a media strategist, and there are probably a number of people out there that are thinking, what is a media strategist? Can you please help us? What is a media strategist?
Sure.
You strategize the media.
Dude, shush.
You said he was quiet.
I thought he was quiet. I will put you in the corner.
But I love it.
I'm in the corner.
Yeah, well, at the moment, now he's adjusted himself so he can speak into the mic, and it's just like, yeah, right, I can speak now.
I have a voice.
I love it. No, please do jump in anytime, Ella.
Don't tell him that. Please. We want to hear from you. You're our guest. You're
so now from me. Okay, all attention on me now.
Yes,
thank you very much. That's it. Everybody shush.
Absolutely.
There we go. Boss lady here. Okay, so I'm media strategist. I'll tell you a little bit of a background. I wrote a book on personal development. Didn't have a clue what to do. And I got into social media. So I started doing a strategist for myself. And then other people came to me saying like, hey, could you do for me what you've done for you? So as a digital media, I work with individuals and brands on creating their social media and digital strategies so that they have more visibility online and they actually get either visibility, sales, signups, or anything that they require online. So anything from social to email marketing to just planning out how to promote something, for example, in a movie.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for now coming up to 6 years, but I came on very strong when I first started because I was kind of spotted by a couple of speakers that kind of saw something in me and kind of put me on the spot, took me all over the world, and I was staged with people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and some other big names. That's how my social media grew. And the kind of the word got passed on to other people, and I just went from client to client working for different brands and businesses.
Do you have any of your clients that you want to name drop or no?
I don't tend to do that a lot because not always. Because I think that when people do that, they're just trying to do it, to get more followers and that. And I like to do it based on my work. So when anybody follows my social channels, they kind of get to see everything that I do.
Okay, so let's take it this way. We run this show, Shoot the Breeze.
Yes.
What sort of tips would you give us if we want to sort of advance in, what sort of strategies would you want to give us so we can advance in the media
I can definitely get you a few already because I've been checking you out since we've been talking.
You have.
For a few months.
You've been tagging on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram, and I only recently started using Instagram because of this show. So
and nobody has retweeted my post or replied.
Excuse me.
Somebody liked it. Yeah, you liked, but you didn't do the rest.
So
this is the main
I'll tell you
thing.
what, I've got my pen, I've got my paper.
Pen.
Tell me what I need to be doing.
The biggest thing.
Sorry.
Go on.
Don't bang it.
Oh yeah, no banging. Yes,
Sorry.
everyone. Yeah, that noise that you're hearing is we have
Elise getting excited.
Elise and Ella just banging on the table. It's like, dude.
Can we do it on 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, just blame Ella. It's just his
No
fault.
banging in the studio.
Yeah,
Yes, a lot.
Definitely not.
Yes, a lot.
So Elise,
So
you're giving us tips.
The
No pun
biggest
intended.
tip that I can give anybody, and you can actually go into any brand, and this is the one thing that people don't do, is interact.
Okay.
The best way I can put it, and I'm trying to think whether I can say this, is before 10 p.m. I'll be careful. I'm not going to swear.
Okay,
but
everyone be careful.
social media and digital media
Yep.
is just like sex. You need
You
some
can say-
foreplay first.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain this. Okay?
Ella's just started taking
Take
notes.
notes
Ella's
over
like,
here,
oh,
people.
it's all right. Pen, click.
So what you don't want on social or on digital is the wham bam thank you ma'am effect. Okay, you get a lot of companies that here is my show, watch me now, listen to my podcast, buy my product now, do me, and you kind of have to start a little bit of building rapport. You know, like when you're dating. Hey, how you doing? I like your podcast. I like this, and then you sell them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. I'm making notes. Just foreplay.
You guys just go for the
first.
wham bam thank you ma'am. I see you advertising a lot, which is great, but with all the guests that you have, we're all promoting you. We love what you guys are doing, or we wouldn't be here.
That's true.
So it comes down to interacting a little bit more, retweeting the posts, and building up a little bit more before that person comes on the show. And even after the show, as you get more guests, you can then do rebacks and, Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday. And that's what a lot of companies miss. Once you create content, that whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on a podcast, no matter where it's at, that is reusable content. Because this is the way to think about it. Whether you have 500 people following you on social or 500,000, that doesn't matter. When you put something out, not everybody's going to watch it, correct?
True. That's correct.
That's true.
Some people will be working, some people are on transport, underground, whatever it is. So there is no reason why you cannot put the same message 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10 times a week. Why? Because of different audiences, different time zones, if your channels reach international. So that is probably one of the biggest things that I can say to you.
That's great advice.
For now.
I've literally written it down, and in my head, I'm just thinking, you're absolutely right.
It's common sense. I'll be honest.
When we first connected, this is like in December, because we've been trying to get you on the show since December 2017.
Yeah.
But you are
Finally both swiped right there.
yeah, funny. But
I'm just following her lead.
yeah, of course you are. Elise you are extremely busy. You fly around the world pretty much. Every time I contacted you, you were in Paris or you were in Canada at one point. Or you were not in the country.
Just playing hard to get.
Yes, well, there's probably
As
that.
you do.
Yeah, she was catfishing me. She was sitting in her house just saying, "So where am I next? Spin the globe. I'm in Budapest. Okay, fair enough. I'm in Budapest." That's the thing, because as a media strategist, you are highly sought after by a lot of people. In fact, we talked about this earlier. You're listed on a particular website as the top 50 influencers in media, which is great because the amount of work that you do. You connected us to some of our guests. We had Craig Conway come on the show. We couldn't schedule with Paul Knight to come and talk about his movie.
I'm sure he'll come at some point.
Yeah,
We'll make him come. Paul, if you're listening, get on the show.
He has a great movie that came out, Landscape of Lies, that has the making of the movie itself is a film in itself. How to do that. And he appeared on another show, but we'll talk about that another time. But we couldn't get him to come on. But either way, that we got to know those people because of you. And that is kind of what you're talking about, influencing and interacting with different people through
It was
media.
the first thing that I did, because you will get a lot of people that they have that it's all about me factor. I do that on the speaking circuit as well. Whenever somebody says, "Hey, Elise, we would love to invite you to our show or for an interview or to speak," the first thing I do, who else are you looking for? I've got friends that you might be interested in. I love to share. I'm a connector. And I also believe in karma. There was a saying by a great mentor of mine called Zig Ziglar, who used to say, you can achieve anything you want in life if you help enough other people achieve what they want. And even if it's a little interview or, connecting with somebody, you never know what can happen in the future. So I love to do that. And I actually want to say thank you very much to you guys for the patience, because I know that it was so long to be here.
Like I said, from the moment we started interacting back in December, we knew that we had to get you in the studio in one way or the other, because we read some of your work and it was very inspirational. So we knew we had to get you into the studio. You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
With us in the studio is author and media strategist Elise Quevedo. I'm not going to try and say your full name because...
AKA Elisa Carolina Quevedo.
There you go. If you can say that, please say it, and we'll try. We also have Ella Acko in the studio as well, but he's just sitting in the corner, just listening. He's thinking.
Awake.
I'm trying to pronounce her name in my head.
He's awake.
He's practicing it to surprise us at the end.
Something different from what
No, here's the thing. He's sitting in the corner. He's thinking of more low, dirty jokes that he can insinuate into, double entendres that he can insinuate into the conversation. If you say so. At least I just want to ask one more question, or a couple more questions before we move on.
Yes.
The idea of media strategy, because media strategy tends to involve Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a lot of us use it socially. There is an impression that it's something that anybody can do. Now, I, for a fact, know that it isn't, because I have worked I've worked in the social media for this particular show, and that's a full-time job in itself, just doing it on by itself. Why is it that there is that misconception that anybody can do it?
I think it's because blame it on a little bit of reality shows, and that they think that any intern or any young person can actually do it for business. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it for social, yes, anybody can do it, because you're just putting messages out without a specific goal in mind. Yeah. When you're trying to get results, think about it like a business plan. If you were to, for example, open the show or open a shop, you would normally do a 90-day plan of action. Most people doing social media, they don't do that. They just go, oh, we've got a show, let's put some stuff out. Oh, I've got a book, let me just put some tweets and some posts. What is the actual action that you want when you put your social media out? Mm-hmm. So that's the whole point of that. You need to have knowledge. It's just like studying a course at university or learning any new skill. Social media is not part of our lives, whether we like it or not. Do we need it to succeed? Technically not. Mm-hmm. You don't really need it. But if you're going to do it, then get the right knowledge. And if you can't afford to hire a strategist or somebody to show you the way, go on Google. Okay. There are a gazillion places where they can teach you, hey, these are the steps. But the number one thing that I always tell people is, what do you actually want? What are your goals? Mm-hmm. Like you can say, oh, I want to climb a mountain. Well, what mountain? Where is it? I want to do social. Why? Yeah. What is the purpose of you using social? Do you want to get more viewers? Do you have a newsletter that you actually want more subscribers to? Yeah. Do you just want visibility? How much availability do you have per day? Because, for example, somebody that says, oh, but I work on it 1 hour solid a day. Maybe that's not what you need to do. Maybe you need to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. We can break it down. But that's why you always need to know those goals to then put the strategy behind, just like you would a normal business plan.
And that's good, because that actually answered the next question I was going to ask, which was sort of what are the benchmarks that you can tell that your social media strategy is working? And as you said, straight off, I guess the very next question or answer you'd have given me would have been a question, what is your goal? If you get your goal and you have your plan, then you'll know that it's working.
Because bottom line is, any platform, currently there are over 200 social media platforms around the world. Mm-hmm. Are we going to be on them? No. On all of them? No. Could they all shut down tomorrow? Yes. So one of the biggest goals that I tell people is create a database. Okay. The money is always going to be on the database. If you know anyone that sells products, that is in business, if social media goes down tomorrow, what happens to all your followers? Yeah. What happens to your listeners? You guys have a podcast, which means that you do have people that sign up with your name, with your email. Mm-hmm. That is the golden goose. That is the result that you want. That Excellent. Is kind of your goal for anybody, just in case they shut down.
Excellent. This is Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
I'm David Campbell.
And we're getting an education on media strategy from Elise Quevedo, who's you dropping a lot of ideas on us that in retrospect you'd think, yeah, that's common sense, but it's as someone always tells me, common sense isn't common. And it's sort of, these things are things that you learn in hindsight after you've gone, tried, failed, and you've picked this up.
You know, not only what you just said is, you get all this knowledge, and imagine that, you go to seminars or you read books and you become the best of the best and you know everything. But after that, that's not even enough. Mm-hmm. The next step, and this is the most important, you have to take action.
Sure.
So just because I now tell you, for example, all these little tips and, give you a few pointers that I'll be watching and following up over the next 2 weeks, if you don't go and start replying to me, then I'll be like,
I'm literally right now on my phone, like, where's the last tweet? I need to retweet and make sure that works.
I always say that when I go on stage or I do presentations, I always like to finish off by getting the audience to do a pledge. And I always tell them, raise your right hand up, bring it close to your hand to your heart. I can't even talk right now.
Where's your hand going?
Somewhere. But it's not a promise to myself.
Sure.
It's a promise to you that no matter what tips you learn throughout a conference or whoever it is that you're talking to, you may be having a conversation with someone, go home and take action. Because you go home, you get busy with your partner or you go with your friends, you go for dinner, and that's it. Monday comes, you get busy with your daily lives, and everything you learned, whether it's a podcast, a radio show, a live TV show, you forget it. And then you listen to it again 2 months later. Oh, I should have done that.
Yep.
And I get people telling me that all the time. I've had people that know me from the entertainment days that saw me grow in the digital media, or they saw me when I was at the first few seminars, and they've seen me soar. And they're like, I wish I had done the same. And I'm like, you were at the same time I was.
Yeah.
The difference was I took action, I went home, and I learned more because I had a personal interest on it. Not everybody's going to want to do it, but if you do have an interest, learn as much as you can and take action, whether you have a budget or you don't. It's like a movie. You don't need to have $100 million to create one of the biggest blockbusters in the world. Yep. You could have a lower amount of money, like my friend Paul Knight with Landscape of Lives and everything that happened, that I'm sure he'll tell you all about it. But if you do have the right people, if you have the passion, you will go find out how to do what you need to do. If you don't have an editor, if you don't have someone to do the score, you will go and learn how to do it right.
That's very true.
Action.
You said you had a book that was out.
Oh, yes. So the first ever book I wrote is called Creating a Kick-Ass Attitude.
Creating a you can say kick-ass, like it's fine. It's like the movie Kick-Ass. So,
yeah, exactly.
So it's creating a kick-ass attitude.
Yeah, and that's kind of, pretty much do anything you want in life. Always move forward no matter what's happened to you. And I do have 2 more that I'm writing this year. One is actually 3. One is personal development, one in digital media, because everyone is asking me for. And the third one that I'm not going to say who with, but I am going to do a co-write within the film and TV industry.
Oh, nice.
A bit of behind the scenes with some cool stories in the industry.
When do we expect those 3 to come out?
By Christmas.
By Christmas, excellent. Yeah. But Creating a Kick-Ass Attitude is already out, right?
That's available on Amazon.
How do we get to follow you? Because I'm following you on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Everything is under @Elise Quevedo.
Elise Quevedo. So we'll put this on our Facebook page and Twitter and Instagram, so that if you are listening to this and you want to follow Elise so you can get more on media strategy tips, follow us on Twitter @STB_Resonance FM, and Facebook is @ShootTheBreeze on Resonance 104.4.
For example, what's the hashtag for the radio show?
The hashtag for the radio. We don't have a hashtag for the radio show.
I was looking, Ella.
So this is the thing.
You know what? Someone's just woken him up. You know what I mean?
Somebody.
Look, I don't.
I've been listening.
Yeah, he fell asleep.
I was making sure he was awake. Ladies
Here's
and
the
gentlemen.
thing. I started. I told you I'm a novice at this. I started a hashtag right for Shoot the Breeze, and it was Shoot the Breeze with Marcus E. Acco and Laura Sampson.
Way too long.
That's a very long show. So I was like, Shoot the Breeze, and 10 other Shoot the Breeze came up, and I was like, okay, so it's not us. Shoot the Breeze show, and so it came up. So I kind of ditched the hashtag approach, but following your tips.
How about we ask the audience to maybe come up with a few hashtags that the show could use? And it doesn't actually have to be the full name. It could literally be STB, or something. Because, for example, we're on the show now. I would normally say, guys, make sure you either tag me or use the hashtag. I will check it later. I can answer questions, or we can answer questions. And there is no hashtag.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tag this episode, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to use this episode and launch it out to people and say, suggest for us what hashtag we should use for Shoot the Breeze.
Exactly.
And then and we'll give it till the end of next week. week, and then by next week we'll announce what the hashtag would be, and we'll start pushing.
Because as your new guests come, it is the easiest way across all the platforms for people to find you. Because sometimes they may not find the Twitter handle on time, or they may not find the Facebook, but they will have the hashtag. So it's much easier to just go to that hashtag and see, okay, who's everyone, who's talking about that. I do that at every event that I go to, because not everybody picks up the hashtag at the beginning or at the end, but they will have a hashtag for the event that I will always promote as well at the beginning. Like, make sure you tweet us or Facebook us or Instagram us or snail mail or whatever you prefer. Fly to us from a helicopter.
So, David, action after this show.
Yes.
We get the audience to pick a hashtag for us, and then we start doing it. You get that? You write that
from
down.
the next show, David.
Excellent.
It's the start.
Action.
You're
we
listening,
like this.
You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm hashtag David Campbell.
Oh,
Yay! I love this.
You sucking up to the guest. Our guest
Hashtag
today.
I love it. Hashtag Elise happy.
Our guest today is Elise Quevedo. She's an author and top media strategist who's been giving us advice on how we can promote our show using social media. Also in the room, if he's not asleep, is Ella Acko. He is unfortunately related to me, but he's here to see what I do. He'll contribute whenever
I'll
he
be
feels
coming
like
up with good hashtags.
You think? Okay. So we're gonna hit the next segment, which is our top 5 favorite film and TV categories. Elise was just telling me off while the tune was playing. How can you not have a hashtag? Because the hashtag, I told you why we don't have a hashtag.
Hold on. One question now for the questionnaire over here.
Go on.
How many shows have you done so far? Season 1 and Season 2?
We're Season 2. Cool. Season 1 was 14 episodes. Season 2 is 21 episodes. Ella, what's the math?
I don't know.
How many?
I'm just thinking you still don't have a hashtag.
And not one
35.
person has actually called you out on this, Marcus. Not one. You were waiting on me.
I was waiting for a strategist to come in and tell me, you're doing this wrong. Get it right. So we're now in the segment for top 5.
Hit him over the head.
Don't hit me. Top 5 favorite film and TV category. Our category this week is top 5 in honor of our guest, Elise Quevedo, media strategist. We're talking top 5 favorite film and TV fixes and strategists. Just before we go to Elise to give us her top 5, we have Chad Silverstein from the Garmy Strong, who has suggested Wolf from Pulp Fiction. If you've seen Pulp Fiction,
nice
the Wolf, he's Harvey Keitel. He's good. He comes in, he does his thing, and he leaves. He's in the movie for like 10 minutes, but he's excellent impact. We're gonna go around the room. Ella, if you want to think of some yourself, you can mention it. David, you said you might not necessarily give some, but if you want to jump in every now and again, let us know. The way we're gonna do it, like we do it with all our shows, we'll do number 5 and number 4. Then we'll go around and do number 5 and number 3 and number 2, and then we'll cap off with number 1. So, Elise, who is your number 5 and who is your number 4 top fixer/strategist?
Number 5, Hannibal from the original A-Team series.
George Peppard. I like it when a plan comes together.
I agree with that one. Yeah,
that's good.
There's only 2 that I've got, and that's
one of them. I think he is one of the classics, and whether you grew up watching it or not, there was so many reruns for people to fall in love with his character. Number 4, I've got a tie.
Oh, nice.
This is the Oceans franchise, obviously, with Oceans 8 just coming out, and it has to be brother and sister Danny Ocean and Debbie Ocean. I mean, come on.
George Clooney and Sandra Bulloch, right? Have you seen Oceans 8?
Yes, I've seen Oceans 8, and I can't believe it's how many years now since the first one? 17.
It's from the first
original.
Because there's the original, which is back in the
original.
60s, which is Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, which is basically then the
George
remake.
Clooney franchise.
Okay, fair enough. Hey,
2001,
I've seen
2004,
both.
2007, and 2018.
Yes.
It makes me sound really old now.
No, well, please. I was referencing the 60s version, so what do you think that makes me?
I'll leave it.
Those are 2 big pulls. I like them. Well, you have one which is basically military strategy, which is Hannibal from A-Team, and you got one which is crime, which is Danny Ocean, the Ocean siblings, which is great pulls there. Anybody else want to jump in with one before I go for my 5 and 4?
Sorry, you
No, go on.
You carry on. You first.
No, well, all I was going to do is agree with Wolf because that 10 minutes that he spent on scene was pivotal.
Yes,
it was.
Absolutely. No, good pull. And I did consider putting that on my list, but I had a structure to my list, which I decided no. There were other people who beat that in the crime category. For me, my number 5 is Jim Phelps, played by Peter Graves in the Mission Impossible series. So effectively, if you don't know what Mission Impossible series is, back in the 60s, the TV show started, and it's basically a team of operatives, the Impossible Missions team. They get given a mission, and every episode starts with Peter Graves, Jim Phelps' character, getting a secret recording that gives him a brief of what it is he needs to do. And you see him go, and he pulls out a file, and he pulls out all the people that he wants to use in the mission, and he tells them what the mission is. And you don't hear what the plan is, but the entire episode is the plan being executed, and it goes off flawlessly. Every time it goes off flawlessly. So that's my number 5. My number 4, I decided to move into Hollywood, and I went to Lee Phillips, played by Billy Crystal in the movie American Sweethearts. If you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about a cute American couple. Think Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie just before they broke, when they were breaking up, if they needed to promote a movie. And this publicist, played by Billy Crystal, he's been brought in to make sure that they stay together long enough to promote this movie called American Sweethearts. And he is fantastic. If you want to know anything about movie publicity and turning bad press into good press, you follow this character, because he starts explaining everything to his replacement, which is played by Seth Green, and he's dropping loads of hints. And one of my favorite bits is if you've got a movie to promote and your mother dies, you show up at the premiere and you say, "My mother would really have loved this movie," and it's brilliant the way he executes it. So I think for my number 4 is Lee Phillips, top fixer strategist. You listen to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
We have Elise Quevedo, top media strategist, talking about her top 5 film and TV fixers / strategists. But before she goes into her number 3 and number 2, Ella seems to want to say he has something.
Yes. Have you seen Inside Man?
Yes.
Yes, so Madeline White, Jodie Foster.
Sure, that's a Spike Lee movie with Denzel Washington, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Jodie Foster.
Good choice.
I've always liked Jodie Foster.
See, okay, I'll say this. It's not because you're my brother that I'm going to try and shoot that down.
What's wrong? It was quite...
Here's why I'm going to shoot that down. You're picking Jodie Foster as your that character as a... Okay, the strategy she pulls is just to try and get Denzel Washington to follow her lead.
Right.
But Denzel Washington outwits her in that movie, so she's not really that great at what she's doing.
No, she is great at what she does. It wasn't just because of that. There were other points where I liked her as well.
Fair enough.
Like I said, number 1, I like Jodie Foster.
Fair enough.
And number 2, before she gets involved, you can see she's actually fixing situations for the Bin Laden family. So
that's true.
Yeah, so which means she's got connections. Yeah, she's got pull. If she can fix things for
it is
Bin Laden family, then this is a woman you don't want to.
It is a good choice. I just wanted to bust your whatever. Elise, give us your number 3 and your number 2.
Number 3 would be Dylan Rhodes from Now You See Me.
Ooh,
and number 2, Emily Thorne from the TV series Revenge.
I stopped before the last season, so I don't know how it ends. I loved Revenge. I really enjoyed that show. That's soap opera at its best. It's like beautiful people in this beach. If you don't know Revenge, it's a TV show about a girl who grows up. She grows up and returns back to the like California, not resort, but the California beach area.
It's a little bit like the Hamptons.
Like Hamptons, sorry, the Hamptons, not California. Sorry, the Hamptons, yeah. Someone's whispering, Hamptons, community. But she's come back on a mission because her father was framed and put in prison for a crime he didn't commit. So she's coming back to enact revenge, and it's beautiful soap opera. I really enjoyed it, but I stopped before the start of the last season. I want to get back into that. And you mentioned who was your
Dylan Rose.
That was from the
Now
magic
you
movie,
see
right?
me. Yeah, I love a little bit of scheming, and again, because I come from an entertainment background and I've been involved in films, I normally am pretty good at knowing who's the bad guy or who's the one behind everything. And in this movie, they did it so good that I actually didn't get it till a little bit later than normal.
Speaking of which, I should have said this before. Spoilers. Okay,
oh, spoiler alerts! Yes, for anyone that hasn't seen them.
If y'all don't want to know who did what and whatever,
then stop listening right now until you watch
Luckily, we probably haven't done too much in the spoiler territory, but that's okay.
But no, he has a great character. I love, obviously, Mark Ruffalo. He was just the way it was played on both. It did get me, and I was like, okay,
that's
scheming, conniving, yeah.
Good pull, David. Do you have one you want to bring up?
No.
Okay. My number. Oh, Ella, do you have another one you want to bring up?
Ermentrout, Breaking Bad. Sorry.
Oh,
Ermentrout.
Okay.
Breaking
Bad. He was good.
Fair enough. Breaking Bad will come up later on again. Anyway, my number 3, just like you had for yours, is a tie. Mine is a tie. Where it's Olivia Pope, played by Kerry Washington from the TV show Scandal. Okay. It's basically because I wanted to move into political. This is now my category for political fixers and strategists. So Olivia Pope, she runs a firm called Olivia Pope Associates, and they basically rescue senators and businessmen and the president whenever there's a scandal that is coming about. Now that show, in my opinion, kind of went a little bit crazy towards the end, but it kind of rescued itself. I felt the better episodes or the best episodes were the ones where it was like scandal of the week, if you will. So she had to go in and dissect the problem, strategize, and fix it. Those were the episodes I really liked the most. Now, I said this is a tie because I want to pair her up with Stanley Motes and Conrad Breen. Now, you might think, who are those people? Those people are Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro from the movie Wag the Dog. Wow. Wag the Dog is a movie that came out in the 90s, I think 97, 98. It's a movie where the American president is embroiled in a sexual scandal, and so one of his sort of black ops specialist guys, played by Robert De Niro, goes to a movie producer played by Dustin Hoffman, and the both of them concoct a war to cover this, to sort of push the sexual scandal out of the papers and have this war, this fictional war, to occupy the headlines, which happened around the same time the Clinton scandal was kind of happening, and it was real kind of like close to bone. But those two, the scheming they came up with is just fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's called Wag the Dog.
I saw that quite years ago.
Yeah. It came out in 90s. I think 97. I'm just checking it out. Is 97. There you go, 1997. It's a great movie. It's Barry Levinson directed the movie. Go check it out. Wag the Dog. But I wanted Olivia Pope to be in there because I love the show, Shonda Rhimes TV show, plus my list was just full of white old men, so I figured I might as well add some sex in there. So yeah, anyway, you're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus C. Acko,
and I'm David Campbell, and
with us we have author and media strategist Elise Quevedo, and she's going to tell us her number one favorite film, TV fixer / strategist.
I had to go with a powerful female, since I am a female, and I'm going with Annalise Keating, played by Viola Davis from the TV series How to Get Away with Murder.
Another Shonda Rhimes production. So,
and I am absolutely in love with this TV series. I've been watched like season 1 because I never knew when it came out at the beginning. And I just love how, number one, they're very dysfunctional. It's a very dysfunctional family.
It is.
It's very intricate at the same time. Annalise kind of holds everything together, but obviously in this last season, she kind of loses the plot. She becomes very emotional. The kids kind of become kind of the mentors to her. They're the ones that come to her rescue. But then it always goes back to her. She's the one that still is the big head of the firm. She's the one that comes in with the biggest scheming of all. Even though when she tries to be good, she still goes back and is bad.
And there's actually a crossover. They do a couple of crossover episodes with Scandal. So Annalise comes into Scandal and Olivia Pope goes into
that was just perfect on the last season.
That was good. Guys, do you have anyone you want to honorable mentions?
No one mentioned Ray Donovan.
I was gonna put Ray Donovan on my list, but I figured, should I put Ray Donovan or should I go with Lee Phillips? I went with Lee Phillips because he doesn't use violence to fix his problems. he uses smarts to fix his problems. Ray Donovan, he's great and he does have some smart to it as well, but his is more physical intimidation. If you've got a sex tape that's about to leak, that's the guy you call. If you want your sex tape to be leaked and to make you Kim Kardashian, you call Lee Phillips. So that's basically what it is.
Gosh.
David, do you have one you want to jump in?
Oh gosh, that's it. He's done.
David's just thinking, have you got a sex tape you want to get released?
Yeah, let's
keep it on the rush. We need to get that hashtag up first.
Also,
It's all about the hashtag.
Hashtag sex tape.
If you get the chance, watch Ballers. I don't know if you've heard of
Yes.
Ballers.
Yes.
Of course,
Yeah,
Dwayne
so,
Johnson.
Yeah, so the Rock is a bit of a fix in that one. It's quite interesting. It's about the the American NFL. So they've got their own.
Gotta love The Rock right now. He, over the last couple of years, everything that he's doing, I'm a very big fan of Dwayne Johnson.
That's true.
I mean, big announcements coming up as well, even on his social feeds about the new movie starring opposite Gal Gadot as well. So
yes. But that's the thing.
There's so much.
The Rock, anything, at the moment, he's so hot.
Anything he touches turns into gold.
That's true. That's true. Exactly. Ballers is a good pull. I wouldn't have thought of him as a fixer and a strategist in there, but I see your point. He obviously manages people, and when they have the issues, and they come to him and so on. But that's fine. David, do you have something you want to? Do you have someone you want to? Okay, that's fine.
Then lastly, my number one might be quite controversial.
Go on. Do you want to say it?
Kevin Spacey, House of Cards.
That's not controversial because he was actually going to be in my list. I wanted to put him as he was going to be part of the political side of things, but I figured I was going to go with Olivia Pope. It was effectively going to be a three-way tie. I was going to go Olivia Pope. I was going to go. Honestly, Olivia
this
Pope.
Could be a whole other show.
Exactly. Olivia Pope, Scandal, Wag the Dog. No, we're not having hashtag three-way.
Do you know how many hits you would get?
Hashtag time to get viral.
Oh gosh, that is bad.
Look, we're not.
Hashtag is not 10 p.m. yet.
We're not using hashtag three-way for shoot the breeze. Okay, that's going to be for my sex tape. Anyway, but I was going to put House of Cards, Frank Underwood in there as the political one, but I figured no, I'll just keep Wag the Dog and Scandal as that. My number one, however, is another tie. Again, moving this because I was doing it in categories. The first category was governmental operations like law enforcement, so that's why we had Mission Impossible. Then I moved to Hollywood. Then we did the political side of things. But now I want to try and put my number one is basically crime. So I'm putting my number one as Tom Regan, played by Gabriel Byrne from Frank Miller. Not Frank Miller, so Miller's Crossing. There's a movie called Miller's Crossing.
Oh yeah, I remember Miller's Crossing.
So Miller's Crossing, and he strategizes. I'm not going to say much about it, but it's set in sort of like 1940s. Prohibition, exactly. And he strategizes between two different warring gangs, and it's an excellent movie. Go check it out. It's Miller's Crossing, and my character from there is Tom Regan. But my other number one, crime, you mentioned Breaking Bad, Walter White, ultimate strategist. He played by Bryan Cranston. Brilliant show. Breaking Bad is probably my number two favorite show of all time. It's about this chemistry teacher who finds out he has lung cancer, and he starts cooking meth and becomes a gigantic meth producer. And the character he plays is Walter White, but he twists into Heisenberg, and Heisenberg as a strategist is almost unrivaled by any criminal that I've seen on TV. I think he's excellent. I'll throw honorable mention. I'll throw in there Stringer Bell, Idris Elba from The Wire. Dude strategizes like a kingpin. He's good. Anyway, you're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. Because we're about to wrap up. I know we've got.
Before we do, there's one piece of movie news that I forgot to mention.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
One, it's Incredibles 2 is out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was released.
Is it out? Is it out yet?
It was released in the States.
Sure.
And they report that it's got very, very strong business. The highest grossing animation film released on a Thursday. Beats everything. So I'm so looking forward to
Was
that.
it 185 million?
185 million on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm just so looking forward to that. I just can't wait.
And
That's
it's got and the last time I checked, which was a couple of days ago, 97% and 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. For those of you who don't know, Rotten Tomatoes is an amalgamation of critics' reviews of the movie. If it's above 60%, that means it's good. If it's below 60%, it means it's rotten. The fact that it's got 97% means that 3% is probably from people just trying to hate on something that's publicly famous. Same thing happened to Black Panther. Same thing happened to Get Out. But yeah, so it's definitely incredible. You said there were 2 pieces of news you wanted to mention?
The other piece was just,
it's the wrong segment, but okay.
But well, it was a piece of movie news. Movie news is gone. I didn't interrupt.
That was at the beginning of the show,
and it went straight into blah blah blah, and I didn't have a chance. So I thought, you know what? Let me just get that in before we finish.
Okay, fair enough.
Leave it that one.
I want to take this opportunity to thank our guest, Elise Quevedo, for coming in and giving us all your media tips, media strategy tips. Elise, thank you very much. I know you've got a very busy, hectic schedule. Thank you for coming in and joining us today.
You're very welcome, Marcus. It was a pleasure.
Excellent.
We're really pleased to see you, and I have been listening intently to everything you said.
But if you do not have a hashtag by next week, I will come and kick your
butt.
butt.
Hunt us down. We'll have a hashtag.
There's plenty of hashtags floating in the wings. I'm telling you. But some of them too good to mention on air at the moment.
That's true. I also want to thank our other guest, Ella Acko, for coming into the studio. Hashtag three-way. Hashtag three-way.
Yeah, that's the most popular one.
Hashtag three-way, Ella.
Look, it's weird. We're brothers, man. Don't be talking 3 ways with us. Man.
Keeping it in the family.
Well, matter of fact, he's just suggesting that for you. You know, what I mean? He would never do that.
You've been listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance.
On Instagram right now.
Yeah, of course. Instagram. Hashtag 3-way. Check out. What are you talking about? You've been listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
Thank you for listening. You've got to get it right.
Good night. Good night.
Chinese man with $160 million behind his door. Let's get him out.
I'm Pat Fraley, and those were a few of the characters I carry around in my hip pocket.
This is